Marketing. So my name's Bronny. If you haven't met me before, I run Empire Marketing, or MPRE, which stands for Marketing, PR and Events. We have recently pivoted to a marketing and sales pipeline company. So what that means is that we take a look at businesses and we say, okay, well, how's your marketing going? What can we do about it? How can we support you? And by the way, how is selling going? Because both of those things are so interconnected. But I'll talk about that in a sec. So what we're going to do today, here is all the marketing guff, and I'll explain it in plain English. So efficient digital marketing, content management, event management, design, email marketing, social media management, all in one CRM system, sales and marketing, and how to advertise for free. So these are all the things I promised you. What that really means is we're going to try and help you save time and money while staying consistent. We're going to help you understand websites a bit better, how to attract clients using events, how to design like a pro on the cheap, because that's very difficult to do, especially when you're starting up, communicating effectively, and we're going to talk about social media management, CRM systems, and again, how to advertise for free, because that's in plain English already. So, welcome to your first, or perhaps one of many, theoretical discussions on marketing or digital marketing, marketing in general. So I'd like to introduce you to the 4 C's of marketing: consistency, coherence, complementary, and continuity. So what does it actually mean in real life? The idea is when you're deciding to do a marketing campaign or putting together any of your marketing material for your brand or your business, the important thing is you keep it consistent. So for example, I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of the things that I have on my website and my social media and all that sort of thing is all pink. I mean, to the point where I wore a little bit of pink today to make sure that you guys associate that brand consistently. So pick your primary message and continually reinforce it. So yes, primary message, I'm talking about a color, but you know, for example, we are efficient digital marketing or efficient efficient marketing in general and sales. So it's making sure that you pick your primary message and you consistently reinforce that. You say it over and over again. So it was represented and remembered, because it takes 7 instances for someone to remember something. So the second one is coherence. Your messaging needs to be meaningfully connect across every medium you're using. So if you are choosing to have a website and you're choosing social media and you're choosing to do posters for, say, an event, that the design is the same, the wording is similar, you're making sure that in every channel you're using the same thing. Complementary. So each one has to support each other. So for example, if I have a social media post in Facebook, I am going to say it differently, say something differently than if I'm going to say something on, say, LinkedIn. But they have to support each other. So for example, if you want to join my Facebook group, I might promote that on LinkedIn, but I would have to say, you know, please join me on Facebook, because that's where it is. So using those channels as complementary. So for example, I used Facebook marketing and Eventbrite, but I used the same coherent and consistent message throughout to get you guys here today, along with my newsletter. So continuity, the idea is that you don't do this all at once, bam, and it comes out. You have to do it over time and repeat it over time so that people remember what it looks like. So what does that look like in real life? Theory is all very nice, Bronny, but haha, this is what it would look like, okay? So we're just about to talk about cascading content. So I thought I'd share with you. On the left-hand side is my website, and I have put up a blog there about cascading content, and you notice everything's in pink somehow. And then this is my newsletter, which some of you may have received. And you can see there that the cascading content blog is featured just on the middle left, right there. Again, the same branding, just different sizes. Again, the same messaging, Digital marketing made easy, efficient digital marketing strategy, same message. Okay, and then I've got here an example of a social media post, a Facebook post that supports cascading content. Again, it's the same design behind it, same font, pink, but also it gives an additional view to it. Marketing is the last thing I get to. So cascading content makes it easy, right? So that's what it looks like. Those 4 C's look like in real life. And if you're not quite managing to do this for your brand, it means your brand is going to get weaker. If you're managing to do those 4 C's for your brand is going to get stronger. Okay, so that's all very nice and well, but what the heck is cascading content, Bronny? So this leads us on to how we save time and money, right? So cascading content is a bit of a theory, very practical approach to doing digital marketing. So, for example, I can write a blog, and in that blog I have 4 key points. We add that blog to the website, right? Which helps us make sure that we become more searchable on Google, right? Using keywords. That's called search engine optimization, or SEO, which we'll cover in a second. Okay, so we write that blog and we have 4 key points, just like we did in my previous slide. I wrote the cascading content blog and I put it on my website. I took those that first part of that blog and I used the first paragraph, copy pasted it into my newsletter, and voila, I have some content in my newsletter. So I didn't really have to do that much in my newsletter. It took me a very small amount of time to put it together because I just wrote the blog, right? And then did a little read more button. Then I took those 4 key points again from the blog and I recycled them into 4 social media posts, right? Again, I didn't have to rewrite this. It's great content. It's well thought out. I'm not sitting in front of my computer at the last minute going, hey, I wonder what I should write on Facebook. I can schedule these out so I keep consistent, right? So over time. And the other thing is both the newsletter and the social media can draw people back to your website. Okay, so this is called cascading content. You write one piece of content, or you could do a video or whatever it is, as long as it's content rich, information rich, and then you distribute it throughout your different channels and recycle it. So that's cascading content. Any questions so far? No? Happy days. Okay. So let's move on to website. Hello, website management systems. For those of you who either are stuck with a website that's not working for you, or you're thinking about creating a website, may I strongly recommend WordPress. There's quite a few different reasons why. Number one, it is the most popular CMS system or content management system. It, as a result, if you have 62.6 people on WordPress, you're going to have a lot of support for it, right? So there's a lot of people that will sit off that support businesses to do WordPress. So you're never going to run out of someone that you could work super well with to manage your website. Other ones like Joomla, Shopify, Drupal, Squarespace, Wix, and Magneto, if we have a look at all of that, but we have a look at it here. So being a good girl and following what I said I would do, or demonstrating to you that I do the same thing I'm recommending to do, I have done a blog on this one as well, and this is just a very short version of what we got on our blog. Okay, so I've got WordPress on the left, Shopify, Squarespace, and Wix, which I just wanted to run through some of those. WordPress was originally a blogging type platform. So anyone who's got B2B business, this is super awesome for that. Like I said, there's tons of resources. It has 50,000 extensions. There's lots of flexible things you can do with it. The trouble is it does kind of give you a bit of, endless possibilities. So the learning curve can be a bit rough. And if you are looking at a very simple e-commerce platform, maybe Shopify is what you're after. Shopify is probably my recommended e-commerce platform. Why? Because if I can do it, you can do it. It has an exceptional training course. All you have to do is keep watching one video after the other, and I did a whole website and set up system in like 3 days. So if you're looking at starting a business, especially now that remote working is easy or accepted, this is a great option to go for. So we have Squarespace and Wix, and Squarespace is a CMS or content management system, as well as a website builder. So the difference with WordPress is that you probably will need someone to help you set it up. I wouldn't recommend doing that on your own. Specialists are needed. Just get them to do it, pay a bit of money, it's worth it at the end. If you do decide to set up your own, have a look at Squarespace or Wix. However, you can get yourself into a little bit more difficulty down the track, especially if you're looking at doing global stuff. So because they are a website builder built for DIYers, they're not going to have all the technical things that WordPress can provide for you. Hope that makes sense. Okay. So I mentioned this dangerous word called SEO, search engine optimization. Now, for those of you who are a little bit aware of it, basically how it works is Google has an algorithm, right? And it says, if you are relevant and consistent, and actually follows very much the 4 C's of marketing, consistency and relevant, and you're proving that you're creating a lot of activity consistently, you must be the most relevant. So when you Google flowers in Invercargill, florists in Invercargill, you come up very quickly if you are very present online. And what do I mean by very present? So let's take the example of a cafe, right? You go to a cafe. If you walked past the cafe every day and they didn't have their doors open, all their furniture was inside, and their billboard saying, hey, coffee and new menu today, is not going in and out of that shop every day. You're going to walk past that shop, and even though it's open, you're going to think, well, they're not very cool, and they don't really care that they want to be engaging with with the world, and they don't want to invite people in. It's exactly the same with Google. Google likes to think if they are posting blogs on their website, if they're updating it with images, if they're updating with content, they must be very relevant because they're doing it often. So they're not aging over time. The other thing is, what words are they using? So if you are a florist in Invercargill, you want to talk about flowers, floristry, gifts, that sort of thing. So all of those words are called your keywords. So if you're mentioning those on very important pages of your website, every page of your website, and if you are mentioning them often in your blogs, it means that Google's going to go, wow, okay, they must be specialists on whatever the keyword is, and they're opening their doors and closing their doors often. In other words, they're putting up blogs often. So they must be the most relevant and most up to date on those key things. Okay, so that's SEO in 60 seconds. Hopefully it was a little bit less than that, but there's lots of different kinds of SEO. So I just want to go through that. Technical SEO is how you set up the website. Nothing to do with you guys if you are getting someone to set it up on WordPress. So it's the highly technical stuff. I wouldn't worry about that. However, on-site SEO, content, and off-site authority building are things you have in your control. Okay, so is your website easy to navigate and well organized? Are the correct words on your business page titles? So for example, if you're a florist, you want whatever your business is, flower delivery, right? On there in your page title, that's the word I'm looking for, so that Google can easily search that, because what it does is it searches your page title first and then it goes through your content, right? So it crawls your site like some creepy crawly, which is kind of scary. But anyway, the second thing you have control of is your content. So are you putting up content all the time? Are you making sure that you change your times that you're open and closed? Are you making sure you're putting up blogs, and are you using the correct words in those blogs to make sure that you're coming up as the relevant keyword of choice? And then the last one is, have you incorporated links into your website? So there's two types of links. You do external and internal links. So you can always make sure when you're doing some sort of blog, you make sure you link it to an internal site. So for example, if you need help on SEO, you can contact us here. External ones, for example, I might put up a thing on websites and say, we recommend WordPress, but I will link in the starter page to WordPress for two reasons. Number one, it's relevant to the client who is looking through my website. And number two, WordPress is a really, really good site because they are huge, right? And so what you're saying is, you know the top dogs in that space, and you are very relevant. You understand who's who in the zoo. So that's what the other thing that Google looks for when it's searching through your website. And all of these ways, all of the stuff I'm telling you is really the simplest way of making sure that you rise to the top of the search feed when someone Googles florist in Chicago. Okay, so that's SEO in 60 seconds. Now, my background's in event management. This is where I started my career. So welcome to events. Hello. I wanted to share with you Eventbrite, which obviously some of you walked through the door on that way. Now, the important thing to think about Eventbrite is basically, if you're a B2B business, it's actually a neat way to get in touch and help people. So this is an example of, obviously, the registration form that you would have gone through, but in the back end of it, I can choose exactly what kind of tickets, paid or unpaid. I can create a design. I can manage and order options. I can invite and promote people. I can analyze where my registrations are coming from. And the cool thing is that I have extensions. So when I set up my event for Eventbrite, I can push one button and hey, away we go. It set up an event in Facebook for me that I didn't have to set up. It just did it automatically. The other thing is that you can manage attendees. So I can schedule emails. So for example, at the end of the session, you'll get an email saying, hey, what did you think? You know, what can we do better? And you can decide on what the link, what link they would like to visit afterwards. So in your case, it'll be the Toolbox, right? So there's lots of functionality around this. The question is why we do events in the first place. Given that we're in a COVID world and we don't know how this is going to go, we're in level 1 now, which is great. Everything's functioning as it is, but also we have this really neat opportunity where people are expecting more remote work. They're expecting to be able to reach out more digitally. So for those of you who are regionally based, this is an exceptional opportunity to not be geographically restrained. So by running events like this, you can draw people into your friendship circle, and you can start to work with them on their businesses or whatever it is that you do that you help clients with. So Eventbrite, highly recommend. Right, how to design like a pro at a very cheap cost. Yes, Janice, please tell us. Unmute yourself, or what is the question?
Does Eventbrite cost you anything?
No, it doesn't cost you anything if you want the free plan and you're doing free tickets. If you do decide to do free paid, they do keep a percentage, but you can decide whether you pass that on to your clients or whether they pay an additional fee on top of that. So when they register, it says it was $10 to attend this event, $10, but your administration fee is $1. So it's not actually that much.
Yeah. Okay, so free events are free. Great,
yeah,
I'll check that out.
Free events are free. So this is a very cheap way of connecting with people that maybe you've never connected with. I put a limit at 30 tickets to this seminar through Eventbrite. I had to increase it to 50 and I still sold out. So and I'm not too sure when I sold out because I've been in the middle of trying to buy a house and I didn't get a chance to check this. But from there, even though we don't have a full attendance today, I can still follow up with those people and say, hey, by the way, here's the recording, and did you need some help, right? So, so yeah, great way for B2B to get started and make friends. Okay, Canva. Now, the thing is, events and websites, they all need content, right? And in that content comes with designs, so images. So the cool thing is that Canva does come with a free account, but you can, for $10 US a month, get a paid account. I would highly recommend that because you get all these wonderful, 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 awesome things. I don't know if you can tell, I absolutely love Canva. However, for example, you get the one-click design resize. So let's say you do a blog post and you decide you want to cascade that down into social media posts. You just click the button and say, I want social media posts. Please, can you just change this into the right size? And it goes whiz bang, bizz bazzle, done. The other thing is that for you as a business owner, not all of us have a design eye, right? So you'll know if you do or you don't. If you don't, you're usually the person that walks into the house and you can't see where your furniture will fit. If you do have a design eye, you will know exactly where they go, and that's an easy way to tell. However, Canva has been supplied with over 60,000 templates designed by premium designers that have that eye for detail and have that eye for the look. And you really don't have to worry too much. It's a drag and drop system. You've got 60 million plus premium stock images for that $10 a month. Upload your own fonts and logos. You can custom templates, all sorts of things you can design from scratch. So let's talk a little bit about designing from scratch. If you look at the top here, those are all the different types, and for you that you're doing education on. Lesson plan, worksheets, certificates, storyboards are really cool. Anyone who's looking at doing marketing, Jamie, posters, flyers, infographics, brochures, newsletters, all of that sort of stuff is all there in templates. But if you do decide you want to do this, the first step is to set up your brand guide. Okay, so that comes back to the 4C's marketing. You've got colors, logos, and fonts. So if you do not have a brand guide, please just these top 3 things. Colors, you can get that from your logo if you have one already, right? You just go to the HTML color codes which is in the toolbox, so don't worry about writing this down. And you can find what's called your hex code, which is basically just a digital number of a color, right? You upload your logo into that little thing and you click on the color, and wham bam, thank you ma'am, you have the hex code color, which you can load up into your brand guide at the back of Canva, so you can make sure your color is consistent all the time. Back to my 4Cs. Okay, so your logo, you want to make sure you have an colors and like a transparency, white on black, black on white. So if you haven't got those things, I would strongly recommend you start with a transparency. This is because you want to make it look sleek. There's nothing worse than seeing a logo with a white background on, say, a black background, but your color logos in front of that, if that makes sense. It just looks odd. So if you have transparent background behind your logo, it just makes everything so much more sleek. Okay, fonts, just choose 3 types of text. Keep them all the same if you want to. Don't if you want to. Make sure that they are very simple, because most people, if you decide on a funky logo and then you put that up on your website, some people's browsers don't actually see that font. So keep it as simple as possible, but make sure you have one font for headings, one font for subheadings, and one font for text. If you choose to keep them all the same, happy days, simple is best. But whatever you do, if you don't have a brand guideline, make sure you have colors, logos, and fonts. Right, let's say you decide you're going to brave it because you've been doing these templates and they're awesome. You want to do a from scratch design. Now, what you'll find is that sometimes in Canva they don't have, for example, an Eventbrite cover, an Eventbrite thumb, MailChimp thumb, MailChimp banner. These are measured in what's called pixels, little square dots. And there's 1,920 little square dots by 1,080 little square dots for an Eventbrite cover. You can find this completely online. However, it is in this presentation. So if you are looking to start with Eventbrite and MailChimp, those are your sizes. So just make sure you design for the right size. Okay, email marketing, one of my favorite topics to talk about. If you are not doing email marketing, drop everything else and focus on this, because this is a great way of staying in touch with people. So why? This is the question. Why? 99% of customers check their email every day. 59% of respondents say that marketing emails influence their purchasing decisions. More than 59% of marketers say email is their biggest source of return on investment. 78% of marketers have seen an increase in email engagement over the last 12 months. Okay, so we're going to do a little test here. For those of you who have gone out in the last 2 weeks and put your details down anywhere, shop anywhere, can you write in the chat, yes? I'll give you a few seconds to do that. I was supposed to do a poll, but I kind of forgot to set it up, set it on the test. So go for it. Let's see if the chat. Yes, 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 yes. Lots of yeses. So you've gone out and you've gone to a cafe, wherever you've gone, you've given them the details. Now, COVID. On the one side, you're sitting there and you're like, COVID, oh, all these things. Who knows if the world economy is going to go? However, silver lining here, my friends, because if you don't have a database, now is the time, okay? People are much more open to giving their details. So, the Chinese character for crisis has two symbols. One means danger, one means opportunity. By no means am I saying use COVID as the opportunity to steal people's data. What I am saying is now is the opportunity where people feel most comfortable giving you their email address, so you may as well start forming relationships, because it will be in the level of communication and what you are communicating that will make the biggest difference. So let's talk about systems. I'm just wondering whether to talk a little bit about databases first. There are several different systems that you can use. A lot of people use MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, and HubSpot. So MailChimp is quite often the one that people use. Look, it is free. MailChimp is free or very minimal cost. ActiveCampaign and HubSpot are a lot more expensive. ActiveCampaign is about $70 a month. HubSpot is, depending on which facet you use, can be between $150 and $700 a month. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about what they do. But the important thing here is that with email marketing, you are actually engaging much more consistently and in much deeper level with clients, because let's say you send out a newsletter and someone clicks on, I'm not sure, florist, Mother's Day gifts, right? And they look at the offer online and then they don't order. You could then take that person and say, hey, by the way, if you do purchase in the next 12 hours, I'm just going to send you a second email here. If you purchase in the next 12 hours, I'll give you a 10% discount. You know, so you can start filtering out those people that are hot leads, warm leads, and actually start to create sales. So when I talk about marketing and sales, I really want to emphasize that marketing and sales are not at all separate. I think I do. Sorry, I've lost a little bit of place in my presentation, but that's okay. They're not at all separate. It's very much together, because if you do not marry up your marketing and your sales, you might sit there and consider that your marketing hasn't worked. So if you are, for example, if you're a marketer sitting in this session, you want to be able to make sure that the salespeople know exactly what they need to do to follow up on your marketing, and vice versa, that the salespeople aren't going to sit there and say, well, your marketing didn't work, when they didn't follow up the sales. So when I say all-in-one program, I mean tracking your marketing and then having some sort of deal stage system to make sure that hot leads get taken from the marketing activity, and then they get followed up with, and then if they're successful, they move into a deal stage. So what I mean by deal stage is, whoops, maybe it's a little bit later on. But I'll tell, yeah, okay. I've got ahead of myself. That's really what's going on. Let's focus on email marketing first and talk about all-in-one systems in a second. I just got a little excited, really, because I love all-in-one systems. Okay, so MailChimp. When we're talking about newsletters, it's really, really important to follow a couple of guidelines. Number one, be a storyteller. Call to action, content, and frequency. So being a storyteller, make sure you are personable, approachable. I never send any of my emails out without a little bit of a story on what's going on for me, because this is a one-on-one communication, right? So I'm sending an email to you. I'm saying, hey, life's been amazing. This is what's happened. This is what happened. And here's some resources on, okay. So I start forming a personal relationship with you. And this is the beauty of digital marketing, is that there can be many of you in the living room of someone else at any one time. You personally, like myself, I can chat to one-to-many, but the feeling behind that email can be one-to-one, right? So if you're a great storyteller, you can easily do that. The second thing is call to action. A lot of people send out these lengthy emails. Please don't do that. Send out sections with buttons that point to your website for content, but always, always, always have a call to action. Okay, so that's, please visit our website for this article, or if you want to take up the Mother's Day offer for the florist, or whatever it is, please have some sort of call to action. Even if you're supporting a charity, right? We are giving away, raising money for breast cancer. How about you donate here? Whatever it is, every email needs to have a call to action. Again, content has to be relevant, so that comes down to your blogs and bits and bobs, and the frequency. So I would suggest, if you are struggling for time, start with them once a month. Once a month is not too hard. You can bang something out, 3 key points, right? 3 key points on whatever it is that's going on at the moment. And you can get that from, let's say you sit down and you write it. The easiest question to ask yourself is, what are the top 10 questions that my customers have asked me day in and day out for the last wee while? And you will come up with content, no problem. No problem, because you know your customers, you'll be dealing with them every day, right? So if you're struggling for content, that's the simplest content strategy I could ever possibly give you. What have my clients been asking about? What are their problems? What can I write about that will help, right? So the next thing is, people get a little bit worried about the legalities. So I've added in here the Unsolicited Electronic Messages Act. But the important thing to remember is that you've got consent, and you can prove that you've got consent. And the question is, what kind of what does consent mean, right? So there's direct consent. So someone has said, yes, please add me to your newsletter. And you can prove that because they jumped on your website and they filled out a form, and happy days. Inferred consent, which is like, you and I have been doing business already. Why wouldn't I email you? Or you've asked for some information on XY product, right? However, if someone decides they want to unsubscribe, and MailChimp does this for you, you have 5 working days to do so. If that does not happen, you are outside the law. So you need to make sure that whatever system you use has an unsubscribe function, rather than you doing it manually, because quite frankly, that is a pain in the butt. Okay, so content. What are the most popular types of content for small businesses? If you are a confident video person, I would highly recommend you do that, because all you have to do is think of those 10 key issues that your customers are, repeating to you over and over again. Sit down, make a video on how to use MailChimp, for example. The other options are infographics. Infographics are fantastic for the likes of LinkedIn. Case studies. ebooks, white papers, checklists, interviews. So don't necessarily think you only have to do blogs. It is the most popular way, but there's lots and lots of other options for you. Systems, right? So we have MailChimp, CRM systems, HubSpot, and ActiveCampaign. So marrying up to where I was going before, we are all gravy on the MailChimp. Let's move forward. Oh, one more thing. Right. A lot of people say to me, this is one of my 10 questions for MailChimp, right? So a lot of my clients say to me, I don't understand what this subscribed, unsubscribed, non-subscribed to contact means. So we just developed a very quick, easy way of understanding that. So subscribed is, please give me your emails. I want them. Unsubscribed was, I wanted them once, but no, not so much. Non-subscribed is someone who might be engaged with you on an online store, for example, but maybe hasn't subscribed to your newsletter. A clean contact, hard bounce, repeated soft bounces. Basically, these people have ghosted you, and they have moved on, deleted their account, that sort of thing. The cool thing about MailChimp is that it wants to see those because it knows that in the natural ecosystem of contact details, there are always going to be those people, right? So that's how I can make sure that you get a good rating, is by saying, yes, I have subscribed. I don't have too many unsubscribed people. I take them off when they want to be unsubscribed. If they're non-subscribed, there's an opportunity to engage them and subscribe them. And if they're clean content, well, it gives people the MailChimp the understanding that you're a real database and you're not some fakey that's doing weird and funky things. Right, social media. Social media. We're just going to get into social media because we're doing the cascading content thing, and then we'll get into all-in-one system because social media is part of the all-in-one systems. But right, so some fun facts. If you have not got social media, 90% of Kiwis between the ages of 18 and 39 are on social media. 90%. Facebook alone reaches 61% of Kiwis each month. In other words, 61% of New Zealand has been on Facebook this month. I'd say a little bit more considering we're going through COVID, and these stats were before COVID. 85% of buying decisions are made from researching web recommendations. And given that you get reviews on social media quite often, very important, 86% of people look up a location of a business on Google Maps. So for those of you who have never heard of Google My Business, please do Google that today, because it is a fabulous, fabulous way of making sure that all your details are correct. But also it's basically a social media platform on Google, and it's going to increase your rankings just by posting on it. 44% of LinkedIn users take home more than 75K a year. So if you're looking for a specific type of client that has some money behind them, LinkedIn is one of the key ways to work it. However, it is 277% more effective for lead generation than Facebook and Twitter. That's assuming that you're looking for business people as your key target market. So if you don't know what your target market is, you need to be very, very clear on that before you choose a social media. But the thing about LinkedIn is that it doesn't have as rigorous algorithms as Facebook. Facebook is, if you look at the statistics between the amount of people on Facebook and the amount of people on LinkedIn, it's astronomically different, with Facebook nailing it above any other social media platform. So when someone says Facebook is dead, it's a lie. It's such a lie. So my suggestion to you would, if you're going to do social media, choose one platform at a time and choose it in alignment with whichever platform is associated with your target market. And once you've nailed one platform, then think about a second. Don't open them all at once, unless you're feeling very confident. Okay, so let's say you start with one and you move to the next and the next and the next, and you all of a sudden find yourself with 4 different accounts. You've got a Google My Business, a Facebook, a LinkedIn, and all that sort of stuff. There are platforms that help you to schedule content. So you literally log in and spend an hour or two once a month, schedule all your content. You can do that directly in Facebook, as you can see behind there. You go into publishing tools and schedule posts and create a post. Away you go. You can post it on Facebook and Instagram at once. However, if you've got more than one platform, you're going to have to kind of work between them. Now, there are some systems, Buffer, Hootsuite, Clincher, and to schedule your posts, but they do cost, okay? So if you're just starting out, just make sure that you focus on scheduling your posts for Facebook and get used to that. Those other ones, they have varying degrees of support and varying degrees of workability. However, they do give you fabulous reporting. So if you ever get to that stage, give us a yell. It gets quite technical, but happy days. Okay, so my favorite part, all-in-one systems. Clearly, I was super excited to do this before. Okay, so we've got HubSpot. So as I was saying, as business owners, we can easily make sales and marketing as two separate things. But for me, it is like saying I'm going to take the rum out of the pina colada, because they work so beautifully together. And we really need to make sure that our systems reflect that. So today we're talking about, digital marketing and how to make it easier for ourselves. There's quite a few benefits to having an all-in-one system. Number one, you bring your teams together. Number two, there's so much better communication. Number three, you have all your reporting in one place. So you can be a bit more, as a business owner, you can be a bit more high level around your decision making. HubSpot is fantastic. I use it with the charity that I work with, Active Campaign, I'm just starting to get into. But one of the things that I wanted to talk through is what's called a sequencing email, right? So when you're doing a marketing campaign or a marketing and sales campaign, you kind of want to reach out to your customers with an offer, right? So it's Mother's Day, have florist. We're a florist, it's Mother's Day. Would you like a Mother's Day bouquet, right? So you send out the first email. Would you like a Mother's Day campaign? They click on a certain link and they order. Great, they're off the sequence. But let's say they don't click and order. The idea is that they get sent that first email. Hey, we have this promotion. We'll be in touch, right? Second email. Hey, we have this promotion. What did you think? We sent you an email yesterday. Here's the link if you want to take advantage. Third email. They haven't responded. Hey, we've sent you this email and we haven't got a response. You haven't ordered one for mum. So either you're sorted for mum or you haven't got to it yet, but here's the link to go and order now, or you currently, someone's locked you in the staff loo and you are in terrible danger and of drowning and we must come and rescue you. So you can insert a bit of humor into a lot of that sort of communication. And I tell you what, the response works every time, because what happens if you send that out to 100 people, you get a click rate, you get people who are going to buy anyway, right? They oh, that's easy. I'll click that, buy that for mum, job done. Great. Then you've got people who are dithering and you still might get them in the second email. And in the last one, it actually does prompt a response. So no, I'm all sorted. They'll most likely respond to your third one, which is, are you stuck in the loo? No, I'm not stuck in the loo. I don't want to buy mom anything because she was mean. I don't know. So I guess what I'm saying to you is sequencing emails can be super, super powerful. Because what it does is it takes you 100 contacts and it creates 3 touch points for them, and it gives you an excuse to ring them at the end of it. So you're like, oh, hey, I just gave you a couple of emails, and they already know what you're talking about. We are doing this promo, but I tell you what, I'll give you an extra 10% off if you order over the phone right now. Cool, great, let's do it, right? So see how that marketing and that sales are so freaking integrated. The thing about HubSpot is that sequencing email will cost you $700 a month. Active Campaign, that sequencing email will still cost you $70 a month. So we're starting to move more in the direction of active campaign. It still does social media. It still does email marketing. So basically, these two programs, HubSpot or platforms, HubSpot and Active Campaign, can take care of your sales deal pipeline. So that's any sales management system that you have. It can take care of your newsletter, which is like taking care of your MailChimp. It can take care of your social media, which is part of that as well. And it also is a CRM. So it tracks every piece of communication that you and that client have had over the time. So it's almost 4 different things in one. You have it all in one spot. And of course, you can get multiple access points for each of your staff members. So when we're talking about setting up businesses, etc., a lot of businesses start with MailChimp and this and that and the next thing, when really there's products out there that do it all at once and still probably cheaper, or maybe they're slightly more expensive than what you've got in terms of free accounts. But if you're doing all of those things at once and you've got a nice little sales pipeline going, then why not? Why not for $70 a month? So these are the things I'm talking about in terms of campaigns. On the right-hand side is the sequencing email. You have your piece of value, you do email 1, email 2, email 3, and make sure you have a follow-up. On the other side of things, you've got what's called a nurture campaign. So on the right-hand side, we've got a promotion campaign. On the left-hand side, we have a nurture campaign. So these are people that you might have on your database that you just want to keep in touch with, because people forget who you are within 2 weeks. Yes, that's not very long, is it? So you might start with a blog, run an event, do a newsletter, create social, and then make sure they follow up, which is exactly what I'm doing with you guys. So what does that mean in terms of deal pipelines? So we talked a little bit about deal pipelines before. So this is an example of what you might see in HubSpot. You've created a deal line, you have an appointment set, you have your appointment confirmed or completed. You have working on whatever it is that you do, and you either you've got the contract signed and then you've won the deal, right? So I guess really what I'm trying to point out here is that your marketing should lead into a deal stage funnel or a deal pipeline. So really what that actually means is, what are the steps to buying? So be clear on your target market and what are the steps of buying? Are you going to meet with them first and then send them a contract? Or are you going to meet with them first, send them an email, confirm a contract? What is the pipeline? What is the stages that you're going to go through? Okay, right, the last one, and here we are, last one, advertise for free. How do we advertise for free? Number 1, use Google My Business, optimize for local search, right? A lot of these things we've just spoken about. A lot of these digital ways of advertising is just sticking in some time and you can absolutely advertise for free. The second one, which we haven't quite talked about, is taking advantage of your partnerships. So if there's a supplier that you work with, if there is another company that you engage with on a different level, if there is someone who is influential in the community that you could do work for, take advantage of those partnerships and make sure that you make sure you distribute that through your digital channels. Promote your website on your email signature. This is one of the easiest ways to promote what you do. We send out about 40 emails a day on average. That's 9,600 emails a year. If you add that up over a 10-person business, the opportunity to advertise is astronomical. So just by changing your email signature monthly, you are creating a completely free way of promoting all the different things you do. So let's say you have 6 products that you sell. You can do 2 months of the same product in promotion. Again, in line with those 4 C's, and away you go laughing. Right, send email newsletters is my next one. If you don't do anything, please do that. The other thing is network at events. So I know that that's sometimes difficult during COVID, but I can tell you it's actually a lot easier than you think. There are a lot of online chat sessions available. I mean, I ended up on Women in Tech one. Yeah, there's lots of opportunities. Reach out to your local economic development agency or chamber of commerce, they will naturally have contacts for that. So make sure you network, start to make some friends, and away you go. So that's the end. We're going to open for a Q&A session. Don't forget to finish your form to get your Lean Digital Marketing toolbox. But I'm going to let you guys go nuts if you have any questions. Should be available in the Q&A. Or anyone can pipe up. Feel free to pipe up. Chat. Observations. Things you liked. Any kind of... Yes, it's a lot in 60 minutes, isn't it? Thanks, Laura. Anyone else? Okay, here we go. Cool. Okay, thanks, Janet. That's very sweet of you to say. How do you build your database if you haven't already gone over this? Okay, how do you build your database? So I would recommend, if you're a B2B, you can absolutely do events, for example. One of the key ways I've built my database has been running things like this. You share your expertise, because at the end of the day, the more you share, I mean, anyone can Google any of the things I've told you today on, on marketing. You could absolutely Google anything I've said today and you will find the answer. So I may as well be open with what I know, because I know that it's going to help you guys, right? So events and free events are a fantastic way to build your database. Hope that works for you, Janae. If you are not a B2B, if you are currently a shop or a store, collecting data as people drop in equipment to you or come into your store is completely valid. Just make sure that they are clear as to why you're gathering their details. It's not only for COVID reasons. So that's really important. Cool. Thanks, David. How do you build your database? Do you recommend bulk emailers to send emails for free? Jamie, I'm not too sure what you mean by that, but I would always recommend sending many people emails at once. It is just so much more time efficient. If you're going to pop on a little bit more what you mean by that, Jamie, and I'll just move to the next question if we have any. Cool. Linked it all together. Great. Awesome. Happy days. Jamie, if you want to email me that question or touch base, we can talk more through a bit more. But I guess making sure that you have an email list that's up to date and high quality. So in other words, people who want to be there, because really, if someone's on your email list and they don't want to be there, they're not going to do business with you anyway. So why have them there? And when you do email them, I would suggest doing it regularly and consistently. So back to the four C's again, right? Oops, there go my boards. Anyone else? Last questions? Cool. Well, look, I'm going to stop sharing there. Close this. And I just really wanted to thank you all for participating. I really appreciate your time. And there's a couple of things I'd like to share. Number one, if you're struggling with social media marketing, we can absolutely support you with that. We have a program for the next couple of months at $99 a month. So we schedule 3 posts per week for you, and we talk through that content. And we do ask that we do a 3-month trial to start, because we do it all at once. The other thing that we can offer you is a free 30-minute consultation. So if you have pegged something in your head and you're thinking, how do I do that thing, or I don't have enough time, we do support with a 30-minute conversation so we can just chat through everything that you might get stuck on. And the last thing we do is, if you're interested in learning more about this, we are developing a program to train on independent things. So MailChimp, there'll be a thing on MailChimp. Eventbrite, there'll be a thing on Eventbrite. So if you're interested in that, you are more than welcome to sing out. Okay, so my email is bronny@mpremarketing.com if you need it. Otherwise, I will be in touch just to check on you and see what you thought about the session and things like that. So I really want to thank you again for today. I hope I haven't gone over too far and addled you with all the information. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.